Hi, everyone. A very good evening and a very warm welcome to Parenting Sadhana. How are you doing? Excited for today's session? Great. So, quickly type in how many of you have been practicing whatever we have been learning. Just write I am if you have been practicing whatever we have learned over the past 5 days, over the past 5 workshops. Wow, great. Many people. Great, great. Good to see that. Okay, so now, today, we are going to talk about something which a lot of us really want our answers for. And we are looking for those answers because all our children are facing going through that situation. See, today's world is fast, right? It's not just fast, it's furious. From second grade tuition races to 10th grade Olympiads and then 12th and then competitive exams, we are unintentionally raising kids in pressure cookers. And we think we have no choice, right? Because we see it every day, a 9-year-old feeling jealous because her friend topped in spell bee, or a 13-year-old losing sleep before every exam, or secretly comparing marks and sulking. You know, that is something very common with all the children these days. I was amongst these children when I was growing up, though there was no pressure whatsoever from my parents to get good marks. But it was just the overall environment around me that everyone wanted to come first, and so did I, because I just wanted to have that scholarship. And I thought that, going on the stage and getting that scholarship from principal would feel so great. So just for that pride, I wanted to come first. So, yesterday we talked about how to prepare our home environment to be pleasant, but how to prepare our children to stay pleasant in this competitive world, how to protect them from turning to be furious and, turning to be so competitive that they turn bitter while they are still striving for excellence, because that's happening so much with children. You would see that even as children grow up, start growing up, like even from class 6 7th onwards these days, children stop sharing their things with their friends. A lot of information they hide. So, for example, they'll not, tell that from which coaching center they are taking extra classes, or which extra book are they referring to, or what is their study pattern. Think children who are doing good, people often ask, their friends often ask them that, what do you do? How do you study? And they stop sharing that. They think that, if I'll share, they'll come first. Now they forget that their competition is not with their own classmate or their own close friend. In fact, their competition is just with themselves. It's not with I mean, if it's a competitive exam also, like an IIT or uh, AIMS or whatever, it's not that they will be able to do much by not sharing some information with just the person who is sitting next to them. It's a lot of lakhs and lakhs of students whom they're comparing and competing with, right? So we have to understand the root cause. And because, these things lead to bitterness, because your own friend is not your friend, then he's a competitor. And that's a bitter feeling. And what is the reason for this bitterness? Bitterness starts from insecurity, and insecurity is fueled by comparison. And comparison comes when our kids don't know who they are, right? So basically, it's the absence of self worth. So it's very important that they understand how to keep competition healthy. And for that, it's important that we as parents understand how to keep competition healthy, because a lot of schools are definitely not promoting a healthy competition. I know there are a few schools who do, but most of the schools these days are just giving certificates and medals and all of those things to children who are doing first just in academics, and maybe other extracurriculars too. But uh, the feeling still is to come first or second and those kind of things. So we have to ensure that our duty as parents increases even more when the environment outside is like that. Because the focus has to be on self growth. You have to be better than yesterday. The child needs to know that you don't have to be better than the neighbor's son or the colleague's daughter, but you have to be better than what you were doing yesterday. Because once they understand this thing, then whole life they will not get stuck into that cycle of comparison and drowning in their self-worth themselves. They'll understand how to live life fully without comparing, and which is a very, very, very important life skill. Okay, so this is something that you can start working on with your children. How? So for example, you have a timetable for your child which you and him have made together. It could be like he has to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, study for 2 hours before going to school, and then maybe in the evening again there is some schedule planned. Now you maintain a diary wherein the child writes on his own that how many days in the week he actually stuck to his timetable and how many days he could not really follow the timetable properly. You are not monitoring him. He is himself writing it down. He might need your nudge to remember that, okay, yes, I have to write this, but still he can manage it on his own. Now, how does this help? Because he now realizes that what did I do well this week and where can I improve? So the whole focus has now shifted from what others are doing to his own graph. So this is very important. And we have to acknowledge that every child is unique and every child's timeline is also unique. No two children start speaking or walking at the same age. Some children would need more nudge, some children would need a little less nudge. That's about it. But eventually, everyone would get there, right? Like, typically girls start speaking and talking much earlier than boys. But by the age of 10, everyone is at the same, right? I mean, 10 is still a very higher age, but if I talk in terms of talking and walking, at least by 4, every child learns to do that, right? Einstein did not learn to speak till he was 4. Now, just imagine if his mom would have started comparing him to other toddlers and she would have panicked. So, many parents, when I discuss this thing, they would say that, let's not talk about exceptions. Now, see, it's not like we are saying that someone else is an exception, but look at his circumstances. Einstein was an autistic child, and he was not, from the school also, he was thrown out of his school also. Like, that, no, this is not like the right place for you to be. You'll not be able to adjust. So, these are not normal circumstances for any child to grow. So it's not like he is an exception. You have to look at the overall environment which his parents crafted for him to grow despite all these problems, right? So what we really have to focus on is that we have to replace rivalry with relationship building, because this feeling of collaboration only will help our children in future times. What happens till they're in school, till they're in college, we are just promoting competition, competition, competition. And when they enter the adulthood, the corporate life, suddenly these things that they have learned till now become a burden, because no person who has been such a great person who has been just competing throughout can suddenly become a good team lead, because he just wants to get awards and prizes for himself. He does not want to promote his team members. And do you think such a person would ever be appreciated by his juniors? Never. And after a certain point of time, even his growth will stop happening. And so many people we see, they are so bright, they have been top rankers in IT and all, but their growth has not been as good as people from mediocre colleges, mediocre management colleges, or mediocre engineering colleges. What do you think would be the reason behind that? It is this reason that they are all rounders, not in terms of just playing cricket and doing music and being good at academics and all of that, but they're also good with people skills, the real people skills, and that comes from real feelings with which they have been brought up. See, things will not change automatically at the age of 21 or 30 or 35 or 40. Nothing will change automatically. Whatever values have been given to them right from childhood, they will keep growing with them. Yes, sometimes in some corporate life, they'll start getting some lessons on, team building and all those things, which will stay with them for some while, but then they'll again fall back to their initial ways. So you have to start early, and that is the key to growth. So if your friend has forgotten to bring his homework sheet, you could help with that. You can always tell the child that you can help. And the kind of conversations you have with children, that molds their value system and molds the way they look at competition. So for example, if your child has come back from school after an exam and you ask how was the exam, and he says in a very excited tone, Mama, I was the first one to finish. Oh wow, that's nice. And then what did you do? Oh, I was just sitting and I was teasing other students. Like, you could either laugh or you could also tell them that, beta, but you should not be disturbing others if yours is done. Mama, they are so slow. What should I do? I was just teasing them. I was just passing my time. So you can always tell them that, beta, they have some strengths, you have some strength. Maybe they could not complete the paper today, but there is something to learn from everyone. You don't have to tease anyone who is falling behind. Maybe they are writing more beautifully. Maybe they are revising their paper twice. Maybe they are reading every question twice just to see that they have not missed any point. So take that also in a positive sense of where they can improve, next time. And these small conversations actually make the mindset of the child. So you can always maintain a diary for these small things. Like if you remember when we were kids, in my school at least, we used to get this diary from Helpage India, and we had to write one good deed we did every day. And this was very, very interesting. Typically, we would, pick up some piece of garbage and throw it in the trash bin. And we would just feel that, write that down or pick up a banana peel. And because, typically chances to help someone were maybe, I don't know, we were not told or like that. Whatever was easy, we would do and just write that down in the diary. But maybe you could start following this practice of, how did you help someone today? Or how did you get better at what you have been doing better today? Those kind of things. So when you stop wasting energy on who is ahead of you, you free up mind space for your own journey. And that's the beginning of the true performance mindset. And if you listen to the interviews of any of the people who have really achieved it big in life, then this is the mindset they talk about. Of course, when they'll grow up in the office, they will find politics, and majority of the people will be busy with that. But you would see that people who mind their own business, they will slowly climb the mountain and they will be sitting at the top, you know. So this transition, we sometimes just fail to notice. We just keep thinking about people who are around us and who are trying to pull us down, and we get so affected by them that we also start behaving like them, that okay, the world is like that, we have to get smart. And in the name of becoming smart, we actually start losing our value system, and that's what our children also start imbibing from us. So we have to get over this mindset that, being smart means, okay, uh, doing it at the cost of others. No, we don't have to do that. So you can start asking your child from today when he goes to sleep, what's the one thing you did better than yesterday? Or whom did you help today? Or things like that. So let's, focus on raising a child who feels secure and doesn't need to compete bitterly, right? So I hope you found this session useful, and I want you to get into this practice of self-reflection with your child. And with that, I'll take your leave, and we'll see you again tomorrow at 9